Hey friends, welcome to Chapter 10, Section 5. I'm actually doing this out of order so that we can sneak this in before winter break because I really wanted you to have this information as you're putting together your science fair projects. And also I felt like this would be an easier lesson to do right before break. It's not too much on the heavy thinking, heavy calculation side of things. So, select an appropriate display. This lesson is on choosing what kind of graph for what kind of data that you have. So we're just going to make a list of our different types of graphs and when they are best used. Okay, so first one we're going to talk about is a bar graph. If I could spell it correctly, that would help. Okay, a bar graph, and that's, it has bars on it. And bar graphs are best used when you have numbers of items in categories. Okay, and categories is really your keyword here. So basically categories means like nouns. So say we had a graph of like people's favorite pets. Pets would be categories because it'd be cats and dogs and, hamsters and fish and whatever else. So those are categories, okay? So if we have number of items in a category, bar graph is the one you want to use. Okay, next one is a box plot. And really, if we had done section 4 first, we will have talked about box plots. Box plots are great to show variation. They're also really great for lots and lots of data, large sets of data, and numerical data at that, okay? So box plot, if you don't remember, sometimes it's called a box and whisker plot. And so those look like this, and we'll talk about these when we get back from break a little bit. But remember, so the median is here, and then the first quartile and the third quartile, and then that's the min and the max. So it does show the variation really well, which is kind of the point. Okay, then the book calls the next kind circle graphs. I grew up calling them pie charts. So whichever one you want to call them. Okay, circle graphs and pie charts are great for comparing parts of data to the whole. And that's kind of our cue word. Our clue for circle graphs is if you're dealing with percents. Okay, so if you have percents, that's when you want to choose a circle graph. Alrighty. Then we can have a double bar graph, which I think we should have probably put up with the bar graph. I don't know why the book's chart has it here, but a double bar graph, I don't even know if I'm going to write it down. It's just a bar graph that compares two sets of categorical data. Maybe I'll write it down anyway. Double bar graph. So we still have our categories, but we've got two sets. So a double bar graph compare two sets of categories. Okay, so again, categories, but this is two sets. So we've got categories, those are nouns. We've got large sets of data, and these are numbers. Okay, circle graphs are percents. The next one is a histogram. Okay, histograms show frequency of data divided into, so let's write this down, show frequency of data divided into equal intervals. Okay, so that means at the bottom of your graph, we're going to have, like, it's going to look like a bar graph, but this will be like 1 to 5, and this one would be 6 to 10. And then this one would be 11 to 15. And then this one would be 16 to 20 or something like that. So it's a range or an interval. So interval or range, if that helps you remember. And that's your key or clue words to that. I'm kind of circling the important bits of information, okay? And then the next one, we have a line, move this up a little, line graph. Okay, and line graphs are used to show change over time. Okay, so if we have something that's like weekly or monthly or yearly, that's going to be your line graph. So time, so, minutes or weeks or monthly or yearly, any of those things count as time, and therefore you should put that kind of data in a line graph. Okay, and then the last one, they call it a line plot. I've always called them dot plots. These are the same, Plus dot plot is just really fun to say. Dot plot, dot plot, dot plot, dot plot, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and line plots or dot plots show frequency of data and again, this data is going to be in numbers on a number line. Okay, so those are our types of graphs. This chart, this information is in your book. It's on page 840. Okay, I like to make you write it down though, because it helps you get it into your brain. Alrighty, so let's practice now. That's what the chart looks like in your book. And it's to help you decide what kind of data to use or what kind of display to use for each of your types of data. So mostly what they'll do is describe a type of data and you have to choose what kind of graph. So select an appropriate display to show the number of boys of different age ranges that participate in athletics. Ranges is a cue word. Same thing as intervals, which means we're gonna make a histogram, okay? And so it just says select appropriate display. Some of them might say you have to actually make the display. And so here would be the display. And do you see how there's ranges here? And so that means it's a histogram. Otherwise, it looks like a bar graph, right? But it's a histogram because instead of categories, these are ranges of numbers, okay? Next up, select appropriate display for the percent of students in each grade at a middle school. Percent, that's your cue word for circle graph, or what I like to call a pie chart. Okay? Are you getting it? Are you figuring it out? I tried to give you those cue words so that it would be pretty easy. All right, next up, select an appropriate type of display to compare the percent, circle graph again, of ethanol production by state. Justify your reasoning, because percents is comparing things to the whole. Then construct the display. Don't know if you actually really have to make any circle graphs. Okay, but if you were to, there you go. And what we'd have to do is find the whole. So we'd have to add all of them up and then divide each one by the whole to find their percent. Okay, and that's how we would find the percents, and then you'd have to estimate. I'm not going to make you make a circle graph because that's not fun. Alrighty, next, here we go. This table lists the ticket prices for school musicals during recent years. Select an appropriate, there's our keyword. Select an appropriate display to predict the price of a ticket in 2013. Okay, years, that's your cue. This means we're going over time, which means we're gonna wanna make a line graph. Okay, So the appropriate display would be a line graph. And let me just show you what that would look like. So make a little chart. And so we got 09, we got 10, we got 2011, 2012, and it wants us to guess what 2013 will be. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This would be easier if I had graph paper, but that's fine. So this will be the ticket prices. And let's see what we got. In 2019, we had $5. In 2010, we had $5.50. In 2011, we had $6.50, so that jumped up a lot, right? This was a jump of 50, and then 50 cents. This was a jump of $1. And then 2012 is a jump of 50 cents again, so we're at 7. So that was a jump of 50. So if we follow this pattern, we're probably going to jump a whole $1. So from $7, my guess is we would go to $8 if we follow that pattern. Okay, line, and you can actually, draw a line. Awesome. Okay, moving on. All right, just practicing a little bit more. The number of people who have different kinds of pets. Pets is a category, therefore we want a bar graph. Percent, I'm not even going to read anymore because percent means circle graph. Okay, prices of sandwiches at a restaurant are these things. Select an appropriate display to determine how many sandwiches range. This means we need a histogram from $3 to $3.99. Justify your reasoning and then construct the display. So on this one, again, we're going to have ranges. Our lowest doesn't go below $2, so we could do $2 to $2.99 as one category or histogram range, and then $3 to $3.99, $4 to $4.99, $5, and then up here you do number of sandwiches available. Okay. Digitally, I have no idea how. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Okay. Really, right now, I just want to help you guess which kind of which kind of graph to use. A survey asked teens which subject they felt was most difficult. Of those who responded, okay, a subject, that's a noun, which means we're doing categories, which means we're going to have a bar graph. Okay, and that's all there is to that. And I hope that this helps you figure out what kind of graphs that you need to make to put on your science fair projects to make them look awesome and sciencey and statisticky. Okay, good luck.